I recently purchased this lathe. It's a Clausing 4804, serial number 17321. Upon an initial inspection, I do have the cover to this. I just took it off to inspect the gears. I haven't found any chipped gear teeth. They all look good. And I have rotated them and gone through everything. And so far I have not seen any issues. It does have all of the see if I can get you a picture of them. I've rotated through and checked all of these feeding gears or threading gears. I don't know exactly what they are. And I don't see any missing teeth on any of them. Now, the gentleman that sold me this unit mentioned that the screw was worn out for the cross slide. And if you move this from one direction to another, so let's see, if we stop here, this is all free play for about a half a turn until those threads catch again. See that? Now, what I noticed was that when you do that, this tightens up, this seam right here tightens up and gets a little loose. It might be hard to see on camera. But see, we've opened a gap there. Now the other thing I noticed is that if I twist that like that, the threads are harder to actuate and there's no play in them at all. So there's no play in these threads. So I'm wondering if the threads are indeed bad, or if maybe this needs some adjustment. But basically what he was saying is that there was play in this thing. Now, even this control has a little bit of play. So turning again, so not quite a half of a turn, but still a little bit of play. So my question is, are the threads on these bad, or is there some other adjustment here that needs to be done, or is this just pretty common on an old lathe, and how will it affect its functionality? There is one more issue with the lathe that the previous owner told me about, and it has to do with the chuck slipping somewhere in here. The previous owner thought that it was the clutch, that the clutch was going bad. And if you look at the clutch, basically the way it's designed, it is kind of a metal cone that goes into a little receiver there. So we can get some better light on it. There we go. And when you activate the clutch, that steel cone meshes with the little female end there, and it spins these drive pulleys right here. So when I started looking into it, I took a look at the surfaces of the clutch, and they all looked good. So I'm going to go ahead and set my camera up under there and see if I can figure out what's going on video. Now, just fiddling around with the machine, I was able to make it slip by putting one hand on the chuck and the other on the drive wheel and basically rotating them in the opposite direction. It takes a lot of my strength, but I can get the machine to slip. Slip, slip, slip. All right, well, I just reviewed the footage, and as you can see, it looks like the belts were slipping and not the clutch. Now, if you take a look at the belt in here, it's pretty old, could probably be replaced. Now, I wonder if that would fix the slipping problem. It's actually really encouraging that it might not be the clutch, it might just be a belt. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do the first test run with the motor on the slowest setting, and then I'm going to go ahead and activate back gear, and then I'll run up through the speeds from there. To activate back gear on these, you have to depress this little pin. You probably can't see it. That pin right there. And I'm sorry, you don't depress it, but you pull it out. Okay, so you pull it out. And let's see, yep, so that's on the slowest setting. So we'll go ahead and close that. And then this lever, there we go. That's back gear right there. All right, let's go ahead and turn it on. Activate the clutch. No stripped teeth. And the threads are moving, albeit very slowly. So I've disengaged back gear, and I've put the belt inside the housing here on the middle setting. So let's give it a go. Cruising now. Stop it. Okay, clutch is not engaged. Turn it on. Go ahead and engage the clutch. That's pretty darn loud. And I'm going to engage this. I don't know what that does other than it makes this it makes the threaded rod go a lot faster. So I'll go ahead and start it. Whoa. So come to find out, I was grinding a gear down here when I did a test run. You see that gear right there. It's got a little bit of bite into it. No missing teeth, thank goodness, but just a little bit of bite into it. So I've been trying to figure out what the heck happened, and here is something that's really odd. If I select this gear, which corresponds to this setting, I can no longer turn the machine, it binds up. If you look at what's happening, that gear is literally grinding on the housing of this handle. That is really odd to me. So if I select that gear, which is what I had it selected at in my test run just by happenstance, if you have that gear selected, it crashes into that gear. See that? Why is it doing that? And why isn't that gear just completely chipped out and messed up at this point? I mean, surely in the last 50 years, somebody has had this thing on that setting. You can see some fresh metal there where it rubbed. So what am I missing here? Is that gear not original? Seems like a strange problem to have. So here's the deal with this lathe. I paid $250 for it as it sits. It came with no tooling. It came with a 6-inch 3-jaw chuck. It came with a traditional like Jacobs style drill chuck, and it came with a key to tighten the chuck, and that's it. It didn't come with any tooling, and to get this thing up and running and actually learning how to use it, I'll have to invest a significant amount of money in tooling on the lathe. And before I do that, in fact, before I spend another penny on it, I want to know if it's in a condition that's restorable. So I made this video to try to reach out and see if anybody can give me a little bit of advice on whether this is a good unit. Now, it did have some issues with the pulleys slipping, or possibly the clutch, but I think that it was the belt, and I think I have that figured out, and that's a relief. Also had the issues with the gears, and I don't know what to make of that. It's still a mystery to me. If anybody has some insight on that, I'd really appreciate it. And then, you know, there were some issues with the saddle, and I don't actually know if those threads are bad or if those collars just need to be adjusted or what. But if anybody could provide me any input on how to check those threads or anything like that, that would be great. Again, I really appreciate you watching, and if you have any input to help me out, I'd really appreciate that too. So have a nice night, and thanks again.